Find here, so I'm glad I brought this along from my place. Remember I introduced you to digging stick a while back. Let me just tell you about digging stick anatomy a little bit. The way trees grow, I mean, look at any of these trees around here. They're growing, they have a natural taper to them. Okay, in primitive skills circle, we call the fat end, earth end, and this sky end. Okay, with the digging stick, because I'm using this as a mallet, I want the more massive end. So I'm going to use the earth end for the mallet end. I'm going to point this end anyway, so this is the sky end. So this is the way this was growing.
Okay.
A lot of activities, like we dug up there, might be using this for a fireplace poker. This end's going to get dirty. So I'm not going to use this end to put my cook pot in and out of the fire because dirt might fall off of this into my food and I don't want that. So I'm going to let this be the dirty end. Anything I'm doing with this stick might get dirty. This is a dirty end. On the other hand, this end I'm going to keep clean. This is why the notch is around here for putting my cook pot in and out of the fire. By the way, Deuteronomy 23 verses 12 through 14 talks about carrying a pointed stick as part of your equipment. So when you have to go to the bathroom, you can dig a hole. And when you're done, you're supposed to cover it up. So God doesn't see anything disgusting in your camp when he walks around checking things out. If you use the digging stick to dig the hole, but don't use the digging stick to cover up, because then you risk contaminating it. I had a group of kids out once, and we did digging sticks, and they were using the digging stick. We had one we were sharing, and evidently somebody, when they were covering up the hole with it, and so everybody was like, So don't use it to cover up. Use some other stick or the bottom of your boot or a rock or something to cover up the hole. But use this to dig the hole, all right? This is your multi-tool. So, I brought this, but I want you to picture this on the tree it was growing on. Now, this is a really good opportunity to talk about another concept here, and that's called caretaker attitude. What's the job God gave Adam and Eve in the garden? To take care of it. And God still cares about his garden. Okay, accordingly, in Revelation 11, I believe it's verse 18, there's a part of a declaration that's made up in heaven just before Jesus comes. Basically, it's saying it's time for you to come and reign. Okay? One of the things he says is to destroy those who destroy the earth. Now, in practicing survival, or actually doing survival, we can do a whole lot of damage out here. On the other hand, if we have a caretaker attitude, we can get everything that we need and leave nature actually better off than it was before. Example, am I going to cut that perfect little shaped little sapling over there growing by itself? No, because that would take off the whole tree. On the other hand, I can find a branch where it's growing too thickly, take it out of there. I've done a little pruning, left the area actually better than it was before, and still have my stick. Okay? So just pay attention to what's happening and how your activities might impact nature. So picture this on the tree that it was growing on. And having it here before, I wish I had the actual tree to show you, the branch. Like, okay, from here to here, we're going to make a digging stick. We need a digging stick. Okay, what tools would I need to bring with me in order to do this? Okay, start out with a saw to make these cuts. And then a knife to smooth it. What else might be really handy? An axe, some kind of chopping tool. What you will find is we actually need two types of sharp edge cutting tools. I call them cutting and chopping tools. Any of you familiar with the Sami culture, Laplanders? Up in northern Norway and Finland, that area, there were these group of people that were herding the reindeer. They called Sami, or Laplanders. We used to call them back in the day. they had two types of knives. They had the little knife, which corresponded to this knife, and then they had another larger one they called a chopper. And that just goes with those two categories that we need. We need something we can do fine carving and like meal preparation with, but we also need something we can do more heavy wood shaping with, chopping. And so, something to chop with, but then also a knife to fine tune it. So, in my pack, I have the saw that I cut it with. Okay, so picture me cutting this. Use the saw. And I have a chopping tool. Okay, with the chopping tool, I'm going to make a point. Now, notice what I'm using in connection with my chopping tool. What is it?
Another stick.
You're a blacksmith, brother?
An
Some
animal.
kind of chopping block. Okay? And a chopping block is a real important part of knife use, knife safety. Okay? And do I want to chop and have this go down into the dirt?
No.
Why not? It's going to dull the blade. Yeah, what do you sharpen a knife with? A sharpening stone, right? What's dirt made out of? A whole bunch of little stones. And I'm not doing it at the right angle, and so it's going to dull it up. So I don't want to do that. Or I'll spend a long time re-sharpening it. A small axe would work really good. Thank you, ladies.
And there it's like what you were saying before, gentleman over here. Where somebody carry the axe and somebody else maybe carry the saw.
There you go.
And work together in your group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Because an axe is heavy. If everybody's carrying an axe,
Okay, yeah, there's some jobs I've found, like when I get to camp, I want to have an axe, a machete, or a bush knife like this, and a saw at my disposal. But I'm not willing to carry them all. So we work together on that. Okay. When you're making a point, learn this from farmers making fence posts, the way they used to do it back in the day. First thing you do is square it off. Okay? And then you come, knock off the corners of the square.
oh.
And I did it a little bit too much, but anyway, you end up with something a lot more rounder, right? Okay, so let me finish this up a little bit more. Now, I don't really want to make it as pointed as I made it, because this is wood. It's going to break that point. I just want it rounded kind of like the tip of your finger, like this one is. Okay? Yes.
that's a big thing.
And then after you get done, you fire harden it. You can kind of see remnants of doing that. Fire hardening, kind of hold it over a bed of coals and give it a slow roast. As I understand it, that causes the cells to pack together and that makes the whole thing tougher. Okay, would also use the axe or chopping tool to make this smooth. And you may or may not want a little hook here, but this could take the place of the notch. Now I like the little bit of curve to it or something like that, which enables me to reach up and bring some stuff down maybe that I couldn't reach otherwise. You also want to what they call chamfer. Or kind of sort of round the ends so that they don't split out on you.
You sand it?
You don't have sandpaper. Just get a rough rock and, yeah, after you're done. So anyway, I would round this and then peel it, make it smooth so I can run my hand all up and down and use it without scratching myself.
You can peel it.
Yeah.
Who's gonna finish?
Lucky enough to find flint, you can scrape it down with that.
Pardon?
You're lucky enough to find some flint.
Yeah, you can, right. Who wants to finish this up? Okay, you got a knife? You're good to go. We may need it from time to time before we're done. For digging stick, I would want hard wood. This is live oak. Learn your trees. Like if you're just getting started in wilderness survival, learn your trees. They're going to help you out in a whole lot of different ways.